Alright, so this is our lesson on 9/8 translations. So I think that to start, you probably need to know that a translation, let's write the word translation, is a slide. A slide is a push. You're basically taking a figure and you're going to slide it or push it from one side to the other on the coordinate plane. It doesn't have to be on the coordinate plane, but the coordinate plane allows us to track movement of that figure. So if I have a figure, like a square, and I push it one way or the other, it's almost like sliding it from one place to the next. And that has movement that we can chart with our XY coordinates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a figure up here in quadrant 2, and I'm just going to slide it to a different spot on the coordinate plane. Maybe there. And now I want to look at I want to focus on one point of that square. So point A, for instance, is here. That's the original square. That's where it started. And I slid it way over there to quadrant 4. But I know where A ended up. It's right here. But that's not the original A, so I put a mark on it, which signifies the image of A. So over here we have the original, and then the translated image of the original is the blue square. So we're going to put image over here. And next I want to chart that movement. So if I look at A, I see that it started here, and now I'm just going to count basically the number of units that it traveled to the right. Now right is positive on the coordinate plane, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that the x coordinate for A went 6 to the right, which is a positive movement, so I put x plus 6. Now let's chart the progress of the y coordinate. How far did we go down? So starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went down 6 as well. That's just a coincidence. That's just how it worked out. So I had no purpose for how I did that, but I just slid it over, but I charted the movement. So y is minus 6. It's negative right here. It's negative because we went down. Down is negative on the coordinate plane. So I have a positive shift of 6, and then I have a negative shift of 6, and every point will follow that formula, that order. So if I take another point on the square and I call it B, I know where B is down here on the image, but I put a mark on it because it is the image. So here's the original B, and here's the image of B. It's like an imitation. You know, you got the original singer, and then you got somebody who's trying to duplicate what they do, and they're just not as good. But these are the same. Anyway, B moves in the same fashion. If I chart B's progress, I go right 6, and I go down 6. It's the same, and it will be for every point on that square. C and D, C image, D image, we have the same. So, let's do it again. Now I've got a triangle. It doesn't matter what kind of figure you have. You can have any polygon you want. You can translate just about anything because you just have to push it. A translation is a slide. So if I take the triangle and I just push it over here into quadrant number 2, it started in 4, it's back to 2. It's like the reverse of what I did before. That would be a positive in the y. So let's start with x. That'd be a negative in the x and a positive in the y. So that's too similar to my last example. So I'm just going to go straight up. Do it again. There we go. I need a point that I can look at. I always call it A. It's easy to start with A. So the image of A is right here. Put a mark on it. That's the image. Black is the original. Blue is the image. Let's chart our progress. So, what happened to the x? X is horizontal movement. And since the triangle didn't move left or right, it just kind of went up, nothing happened to x. So I'm not going to plus 0 because in math we don't write plus 0. So x stays x. But y did have some change. It had vertical change, which is y. That is positive because we moved up. And all you got to do is count it. Let's see how far we went. So start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went up 5. Y plus 5. And that's my answer. So So with a grid, it's pretty easy. All you gotta do is count. But with anything, there's always a formula to it. So we don't need the grid in order to get the answer. We could just start with a couple points. So think about this point right here. 5, negative 2. X, Y. And let's call that point A. And now I'm going to translate it. So let's say you don't see me do it, but I sleight of hand, I just shift that point, and it becomes 6, 4. So what was the change? What was the shift? Well, we should know that 5 is the x coordinate. That's the original 5, or the original x, and this is the image of x, or where it went to. So go from 5 to 6 on the number line, well, that's to the right 1. That's plus 1. So I know that all x, no matter what the shape is, square, triangle, pick your favorite, it's going to be x plus 1. Whoops. Don't need a parenthesis yet. Don't forget about the y. Let's talk about the y. Here's my y coordinate. It starts at negative 2. It goes to 4. And if you're not sure about it, get a coordinate plane and look at it. Or you can just draw one on your paper and say, okay, here's negative 2. And here's positive 4. How far up is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. And that's up. Up is positive on the coordinate plane, so y plus 6. And that's your answer. And that'll be true for any point that's on that polygon that you've chosen. That, my friends, is how to translate an image.